Okay, video number 4 from my sports nutrition class, chapter 3. After a meal, when glucose levels are high, the body makes, or the pancreas makes insulin. And it tells the liver and the muscles, please take up glucose, store it, and have it for later. Here's a reason why for diabetics who are type 1, who cannot make insulin, they can get in trouble for a couple of reasons. When they eat carbohydrate-rich foods, they don't have an ability to tell their cells, hey, please take up the glucose. And so blood sugar can get really high for a long time. And I know we don't cover this in this class, but really high blood sugar actually hurts your body. The glucose will start to attach to molecules in the wrong places, eyes, kidneys, nerves, heart tissue, and causes damage, if you will. So that's bad. But the other thing is if you can't store your glucose, it's not available for later. So for type 1 diabetics, it's important to take insulin artificially, injection or the pump, so that you can store what you eat and use it for later. So insulin is a storing hormone. Between meals, that's different. Now we're trying to release glucose back into the blood for the for the brain to use and your other tissues. We know that it's stored in the liver. It is in the muscles, but it's not available for shipping. It is available for release from the liver in the presence of glucagon when blood sugar is low, between meals, made by the pancreas. It tells your liver to release glucose. So that's how you regulate your blood sugar. The body does like to keep blood sugar in a range between about, I'm going to look at this little chart here, 70 to 100, 110 milligrams per deciliter. That's 100 milliliters a deciliter. So that's how you regulate your blood sugar, like for most people, all the time. What do you do for sports? What do you do for injury? Don't you need a lot more glucose when you're exercising? You do. You might need glucose up in here, 120, 130. Glucagon gets it back to the healthy range. You need a different hormone, and that, my friends, is epinephrine. The same one we use for alert allergy attacks, or bee pollen, or peanut attacks, right? Epinephrine. Epinephrine's made by the noradrenaline gland, so it's noradrenaline. It's made by the adrenal glands. It's released during stress or exercise, and it tells the liver and the muscles. It tells the muscles, use more glucose. It tells the liver, release more glucose. And it actually jacks up your blood sugar into what normally would be unhealthy values, but this perfectly fine. Oh, that's my cat. Disgusting. That's my cat sneezing. Into really high levels that normally would be unhealthy, which are perfectly acceptable for exercise. So you make epinephrine during exercise. By the way, epinephrine also tells your body fat to release more fat than normal. So if you were to take a blood sample of an exercising adult, you'd find more glucose floating around than normal and more fatty acids from body fat, which we'll talk about in the fats chapter, floating around available as a fuel source. Insulin, glucagon regulate 99% of the time. Epinephrine is released during stress or exercise or injury. When you stop exercising or you're not stressed or you're not injured, the epinephrine comes back. You stop releasing epinephrine and your blood sugar comes back down to the kind of healthy normal range. That's how you regulate your blood sugar. Okay, now foods that shoot up your blood sugar or foods that don't shoot up your blood sugar, especially if you have blood sugar regulation issues, we can rank those, and we do that. We use this thing called a glycemic index, and it's a big list of foods. Do we have here's an example of it. So some foods like Gatorade or bread or rice, when you eat them, they're digested so quickly, they shoot up your blood sugar. We call those high glycemic index. Foods that don't do that plateau your blood sugar, that break down slowly, like oatmeal or quinoa or barley or beans, those kind of plateau your blood sugar. Those have a low glycemic index. For patients who have blood sugar issues, diabetics, type 1 or type 2, we like the low glycemic foods. We don't recommend they eat bread and cake and sports drinks. For athletes, it's kind of different. If you're like running or cycling and you can sip or nibble on something, we want high glycemic foods. We want candy bars, Jolly Ranchers, Jelly Belly jelly beans, Gatorade, saltine crackers. Anything that breaks down really fast and releases sugar really fast will allow you to get glucose into your bloodstream as quickly as possible for fuel. So you can rank foods on high glycemic, low glycemic. You know, most of the time when you're not exercising, we really do want you not to eat a lot of high glycemic foods. You really shouldn't be drinking Gatorade in the classroom. But for sports activities, you know, it's not oatmeal on the sideline of a football game. It's Gatorade, goo packs. No one's eating oatmeal in the Tour de France while they're cycling. They're eating the oatmeal after they cycle. And then another way to talk about carbohydrates-rich foods is how much is in a food. Even if a food has not a lot, even if a food has a low glycemic response, it's a plateauer, not a spiker. For people who have blood sugar management issues, diabetics, you also worry about how much is in the food. Sure, oatmeal doesn't shoot up your blood sugar, but it has a lot of carbohydrate. So you're really balancing the speed at which it breaks down and gets in and the amount that's actually in the food at that time. You're kind of, two moving parts that we have to kind of manage if we're trying to, like, again, have the right sugar amounts coming in at the right times of the day for the right type of activities that we're doing. And I think that ends this video. And we'll finish up, I think, on the last video.